let's get started with that all-important conversation around the movement of petroleum products. Sadly, what is meant to be simple process, move it from one place to the other without incidents, has led to the loss of lives of dozens, even scores, particularly in northern Nigeria. We've also seen some tankers fall over and people scooping petrol, and you're almost screaming at the top of your voice, come on, you know that this is dangerous. So what happened afterwards? Well, the government, through the NMDPRA, gave out a policy introducing this policy that from March, trucks exceeding 60,000 liters will be restricted from loading, and by Q4, the maximum capacity will be reduced to 45,000 liters. But how are the operators receiving this? How will the implementation look like? Is this feasible? Is this where the problem really is? Well, we're joined on the program by the president of the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners. That's NARTO, Mr. Yusuf Othman. He joins us from our Abuja studio. And joining us via Zoom is the president of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association. It's PETROAN, Mr. Billy Gillis-Harry. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Brief.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on your show today.
Well, I don't know how you are receiving this new policy by the NMDPRA. So let me begin with Mr. Othman. Restriction on 60,000, and by Q4, the restriction will be on 45,000 liters. Is this the way to go? Are you all in for this new policy?
Yes, good morning. We're all in the new policy, no doubt about it. As much as we appreciate the consequences of all these recent crashes, we are pained by the development afterwards. So, of course, we keyed in with all the policies of the federal government through the NMDPRA with a view to curtail all the unfortunate avoidable incidences.
All right. So let's go to Mr. Billy Gillis-Harry. Well, Mr. Othman says he's in on this. Is that the same for you as well? Because this directly affects your work. So you can't get as much volume as you get. What happens? You begin to change your tankers, or do you keep the ones that have 60,000 somewhere else and then load with 33,000? I don't know. Are you thinking of all of that? How is it playing in your head?
Well, first, let me commend the NMDPRA leadership for responding quickly to this very avoidable situation, as my colleague, the president of NATO, has said. These accidents are completely avoidable because there are extant laws and rules of operation that should have been complied to by every player in the industry. So it is commendable. And yes, it impacts directly on the retail outlet owners, but Nigerians' lives and Nigerian routes and Nigerian infrastructures, effective use to stabilize and grow economy, it's more important and overrides any kind of benefits that retail outlet owners will have. So we subscribe to this rule that every 60,000 liters tanker should be allowed to work within the framework of up to 30th of March. And then thereafter, we all start to work together. As there is already a petroleum industry stakeholders forum that is being established. And under the direct leadership of the Honorable Minister of Petroleum Oil, Senator Henneke Lukobere, and his team. So I believe that all of these decisions will always be generally discussed by the stakeholder forum, and we subscribe to those rules. So we commend the NMDPRA, and we want to advise all of us, as the president of NATO, that's the most affected, has already said that we subscribe to this. We also subscribe to that.
All right, let me stay with you, Mr. Gillis-Harry. One of the things we've only found about this new measure is the size of the tankers reducing in succession from March 60,000, and then we begin to reduce to 45,000. We're used to the regular 33,000 liters. But that's on one hand of this whole crisis. So do you think that that in itself can affect the ability, the reduction in tanker accidents in the long run, or it is the attitude of the drivers, and I forgot what they call the young men that follow them, that is actually the core of the conversation?
Well, the size of the tanker and the content of the volatile liquid that is contained in there all contribute to the challenges we have seen, where we have seen these type of tanker incidents, and also the carnages and the deaths, that follow. So we need to understand that if a truck is carrying 45,000 liters of product, for instance, the chances that the truck will be more stable is guaranteed. That the fact that our roads will not be destroyed quicker than expected is also going to be guaranteed. So it's a decision that will impact on all sides. The Federal Ministry of Works, I believe, will be very happy also to know that the NMDPRA has taken this decision in conjunction with stakeholders to ensure that the roads are secure. Yes, the motor boys and also the drivers also have their own fair share of the blame. But what I will see in this is that there is need for very deep, detailed, certified training programs and modules that should be rolled out by both the NUPENG, NARTO, NMDPRA, and even us who are the stakeholders that benefit from it. And we must insist on obeying the law. So all retail outlet owners from this point on will certainly be looking to working that very rule. And yes, we do not need to have 60,000 or 90,000 liters of product in our station at the same time. The reasons were simple. When you pay for product and you have them all loaded in one truck, it comes, quicker. But also recall that in today's financial challenges, the amount of money to pay for 90,000 liters of product is quite high. The cost of the truck is very expensive. And if there is any accident that happens, that is a major destruction, not just only to the company, not to the retail outlet owner, not to the owners of the trucks like NATO and other agencies and associations that are there, but the whole country. Because each time these incidents occur, the roads are affected very badly, the human lives are lost, and one life of Nigerian is too many. So we think that there should be a holistic approach, and I believe that the NMDPRA is up to task, and they will certainly do what is needed to ensure that Nigerians are safe, and the business of providing petroleum product to Nigerians are effectively regulated.
Mr. Altman, let me come to you. At the end of the day, it's about compliance, it's about implementation. We've seen regulations not being complied with. So there's a lot that falls on your table and that of Mr. Gilishari on this particular issue. So for you, what will work better for you for implementation purpose? Because, for instance, in Lagos, tankers are not allowed to drive through the roads in the daytime. We still see them because they're supposed to move in the night. You see more in the night, but we still see them in the day. So for you, because if there's no buy-in from people like you and Mr. Gilishari, then this is going to fall flat on its face. So what is convenient so that we have a clear book and a pathway besides what the authorities are saying?
Convenient in terms of the volume or in terms of supply day or night?
In terms of whatever needs to be done to reduce incidents like accidents.
Well, actually, as far as we are concerned, we have a lot of safety rules and procedures already in place. It's just that we probably need to refresh. And these safety measures are already applied in all the vehicles that we use. But there is need, like they reiterated in the last meeting, to look at them and refresh, which we are doing. And of course, in terms of the volume, as much as we are concerned, we do not believe that the accidents are necessarily as a result of the volume usually conveyed. There are a lot of factors surrounding it. But if the general belief or understanding is the volume, fine. We will comply with the instruction and we'll make sure everybody is on board. All we want, as much as possible, we also want to get rid of avoidable incidences. Now, supplying fuel in the night also has its own implications, because I've just heard that there is a bill currently going on even in the Senate to avoid distribution of heavy-duty vehicles, also distribution of fuel in the daytime. Now, if you don't supply in the daytime, which time would you supply? In the night, when we are facing a lot of hijacks and whatever on the road, and if for a driver, some drivers even they need to see the road clearly with the current condition of the road. Although some of the roads are work in progress, you need to see clearly moving inflammable product, and you move in the night. I don't see how that will work. But in any case, even in the bill, they said there's a caveat for essential services. I want to believe distribution of fuel across the country, whether in the daytime or the nighttime, I want to believe, except proven wrong, it's an essential service. So this is it. We are pained, of course, because, like I keep saying, all these 60,000-liter trucks particularly, they are brand new vehicles. They are very costly, and the combined value of about 2,000 of them, that's about 300 billion. Now, of course, there is going to be a phased, a time frame within which to clear them out. Probably the owners, some our members, will maybe try and see some fabricators and see how they will be able to reduce the content and whatever. But notwithstanding, we are already keyed into the...
Oh dear, Mr. Othman. Okay, I think Mr. Othman is back. Mr. Othman, go ahead.
Yes, so we are keying in, and we'll try and ensure that we key in almost all the points noted, and we'll sensitize our members in that direction.
So you say that the 60,000-liter vehicles are costly and they would have to be phased out. Who's going to bear the cost of the phasing out of those tankers? Would it be the oil companies or members of your association?
That is our concern. All these vehicles are private investments. So private investments are usually belong to private individuals, some financed by themselves, some financed by the bank, but all the same, they are all investment, and naturally when you invest, you expect to have certain returns at the end of the day. So now if you are cleared, then it's something else. But we are not averse to the government policy in this respect. We'll see what we'll do. There is enough time probably from now to the third quarter or last quarter of the year to be able to look at it holistically and see what we can do in this direction.
Now, you said something critical. I'm going to stay with you for a bit, Mr. Othman. You said that these accidents are not just caused by volume alone, that there are other factors. I'd like you to speak to that, particularly because we've had this conversation before on this program as well. And some of the information that came through was that these tanker drivers, more often than not, are not trained, that they're just employed. Who takes responsibility for the unwholesome consequences that we have seen, particularly if these tanker drivers are not trained, as the information has come to us?
Well, it's easier said than done. You cannot buy a vehicle of about 150 million and just put driver straight on the road without necessarily putting him through the rudiments of the business. So I do not want to believe that the drivers are not trained. But for the purpose of what we are doing, we are engaging the drivers, and we train them at least twice a year, especially those drivers that are working for major energy marketers and other big companies. and not only train the drivers, but also inspect the vehicle itself. There is an inspection facility that we do use, and such a facility will tell you if a vehicle is roadworthy or not, and there are some requirements within which to ensure that the vehicle is put in place by virtue of its roadworthiness.
So if you say...
the drivers are trained and retained. At the same time, NARTO, PTD, NUPEM also, they have a training facility, also with the Federal Road Safety Corps, to ensure that the drivers from time to time are trained. But what we are doing now in view of the recent development is to put a time schedule as against what we do now, and we will make it open and publicize it so that people will know that yes, from time to time, this is the time frame within which the drivers are trained, and this is where they are trained, and probably even go as far as to ensure that there will be certain penalties for the vehicle itself.
Pardon me. If you say that they are trained and these drivers indeed have knowledge of the machines that they operate, meaning those tankers, why do we have so many accidents on the roads?
Yes, I told you there are a lot of factors that lead to an accident. Let me tell you, there is very strong correlation between a number of accidents and the condition of the road that the drivers fly. I've said it earlier on. One of the major catastrophes we had in the accident is the one at Port Harcourt, and the road was, of course, work in progress. The condition of the road is work in progress. The one that just we had at Diko, there is a road from Abuja to Kaduna to Kano. It's also work in progress. So that is not to say that all the roads are bad, but majority of the places where accident took place, you see the condition of the road. However, the general belief is that when there are issues, we look at the condition of the road, the condition of the vehicle, and the condition of the driver, and to a large extent, even the public response after the incidents. There are some responses that are positive, there are some responses that are negative. If sometimes a vehicle will fall down without even opening, the public will force the tanks open and they'll start scooping the fuel. So it's part of the orientation and the meetings that we're doing. Who is going to be the first responder usually in such circumstances? What are the safety team that are required to ensure that they are in place in such kind of incidents?
All right, if you can hear me, Mr. Othman, so obviously there are other factors that are not being sorted right now. So it's not just the volume, but some have said that even the trucks cause some sort of road damage as well. But there's also the state of the roads, which you mentioned. There's the state of the drivers. There are other factors. So it looks like the government is just dealing with one of these many factors, while the other factors still remain, a lot of them largely unresolved. But let me go to Mr. Billy Gillis-Harry and just ask the practicality, because that was something I asked you earlier on. Perhaps you might want to speak to some of the points raised earlier. But more importantly, I'd like to know how many 60,000 trucks do you have, for example? Is it 45,000 or 33,000? How many do you have? And what will be the implication of that? Would you have to, if you have, or maybe colleagues that have, will they sell it off? Will they repurpose it? What exactly is the plan with that?
Well, most of my members have trucks in excess of 150. And as soon as this information came, we tried to do a very urgent emergency meeting to alert our members exactly what is going to happen. But as you know, what is in the public eye is NARTO as owners of trucks, and also NUPENG, that is the head of the PTD, that's the tanker drivers. What we intend to do is very simple. Hopefully by the close of the today, we'll have additional review on the status of some of our members who own trucks, because we also have members who own tank farms, who own trucks, who own retail outlets as well. So we will reach out to them and let them know what the law says now. And that's why we agreed to sign off on the document as it came out yesterday, that PETROAN is is committed to it. All that we can say, President of NARTO, Alhaji Othman, has said it very clearly. I do sympathize with him and also most of our members who have trucks, who have tankers, that they need to address this difficulty holistically is the way to go. But I think what is in the public eye immediately is just the size of product that's been reduced. But there are quite a lot of others which, as stakeholders, we're aware that even the ministry have committed to working. Some of the things that need to be done, like you were saying, about times of traveling for tankers that are laden with petroleum products. All those will come up, and we were looking for, holistic solution. And I just want to tell Nigerians that every one stakeholder in the industry is committed to it. It's painful. It's going to be difficult for us. Those 60,000 liters that are going to be phased out, it means that 15,000 liters of those trucks will not be used. We have to think what is the way to go forward. And I'm sure that businessmen who are willing to obey the laws, as PETROAN is, we will encourage our members to find out a very clever way out of how to make sure that those 15,000 liters or the extra 30,000 liters that will come out of, because we also have members who have 90,000 liters. So, but the cost is heavy. And this is where we as retail outlet owners will support the owners of these transfer facilities, that the government should come to their aid. Because if you are going to reduce your tanker size, there is a cost associated.
Indeed.
If you are going to rebuild it, there's also a cost associated. So there should be the need to work out a process where there is help coming to all of these processes and make sure that it works well.
There you go. Early days indeed, and there is so much more to fix in this sector. We'll see how this plays out. I will obviously be coming to you from time to time for updates. We have to thank you for your time, Mr. Billy Gillis-Harry, the president of PETROAN, as well as Mr. Yusuf Othman, the president of the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners. Thank you for providing insight into this, and of course, we'll be following to see how it plays out.
It's my pleasure.
We'll take a moment now,
Thank you, sir.
and when we return, well, we'll talk about digital space. How well are you active on it? How well are you visible? How well is your product selling? That's in a moment. Stay with us.